Welcome back, Maniacs. It's been a long time, but I told you I was going to do this video, and I am. Today, I'm going to listen to and watch the Band-Maid single, Different. Now, my Band-Maid calendar shows that the last album I listened to, which was Conqueror, was released at the end of 2019, and throughout 2020, nothing came out from them. I assume they were touring most of the time, probably taking some well-deserved breaks, but then at the very end of 2020, in December, they released this single, Different, which includes the song Different, and then a shorter version of the same song, and the instrumental Don't Be Long. And if I'm not mistaken, Different was the first song that they made for an anime show. Certainly it was written for the anime show. I believe it was Log Horizon. I haven't seen any of those shows, and the few times that I have looked because somebody said, oh, this Band-Maid song is in this anime, when I finally found that anime, it had been replaced by some other song that wasn't nearly as good as a Band-Maid song, and then I didn't end up watching the show because I wasn't interested. But I am interested in their music, and so today we're going to listen to Different and watch the official music video, which I have pulled up here. Unlike other people who react to music videos on YouTube, I have heard this song before and I've seen this video before. You can probably see the little thumbs up at the bottom of your screen there, which shows that I liked it. But I haven't listened to it in a long time, and I certainly haven't seen this video in a long time because once I started doing these reactions, I didn't listen to any of the music I haven't gotten to yet. We're going through Band-Maid's catalog in chronological order. We're now at 2020, December, and the song Different. And once again, I almost forgot to put on my headphones. But just as I was about to click play, I remembered, and here we go. This is Different, official music video by Band-Maid.
Let's go, it's showtime!
That is a really energetic intro, probably befitting the type of anime that it was for. Very bouncy. A lot of Band-Maid songs are quick, tempoed, but not quite as bouncy feeling as that one. This one felt like it was like almost just a hopping do-do-do-do-do-do. Anyway, and I really liked the way that the bass tone sounded when it came in. I'm just going to listen to it again because it's my video and I do what I want.
Let's go, it's showtime!
I just realized one of the things that made it sound bouncy was the way that Akane is doing the drum beats, which I don't know if that's called offbeat or upbeat or whatever it's called, but it was, it felt like the loudest part of the drum beat was in between the guitar notes, so they were kind of interspersed with one another, which made it sound faster and bouncier. All right, let's hear that vocal intro again. Psyche's voice sounded really low there. I know she has a, a decent sized range between the, low end and the high end, especially when she goes into her falsetto, which she seems to have perfected. And I've been told that Miku has a slightly wider, broader range vocally than Psyche does. But I think that's the lowest I've heard Psyche sing, or at least the lowest that I can remember. I also really liked the way that the guitar and bass sounded together there. In between when she was singing, it reminded me of the guitar tones from Domination, which is probably my favorite sound that any guitar has made ever. Just really crunchy and gritty. I like that. Just perfect. They could have gone further with the effects and it wouldn't have sounded quite as good. This somewhere in between. It's somewhere in between perfectly clean and completely distorted. There's a place there on that spectrum that each of us likes the best. Some people like their guitars completely clean sounding with no effects whatsoever, and others like theirs completely distorted and just sounding like some metal machinery grinding against one another. And the rest of us, I think most of us, like it somewhere in between. They found the sweet spot for me. Hopefully it's a sweet spot for you too. Also, I am occasionally glancing at the lyrics as we go through here, and I'm really glad that they add subtitles. This one seems really deep. You could probably make another video comparing, the themes of the anime show with the lyrics that they wrote for this song. And speaking of subtitles, after I found Band-Maid, I kind of really spread out the kinds of music that I was listening to all over the world, bands that I didn't know existed, but they'd been around for 10 years. And some of them add English subtitles and some of them don't. And some of them add the lyrics in their own language and allow YouTube to auto-translate. But I found myself just not listening to or watching the ones that don't have any at all. And if you try to use the YouTube auto translate, it's just way off, or it'll pick the wrong language. I don't know what's up with that. I just wanted to say that I'm really glad that Band-Maid and some of the other ones that I've been following definitely do put in these subtitles. This one, I'm pretty sure they added the English translation as well. I also noticed that the complete Japanese and English translations are in the description of this video, which they don't have to do. It's an extra step that they have to take, knowing that the majority of the YouTube audience doesn't speak Japanese. And whatever language you pick, there's a good chance that the majority of the YouTube audience doesn't speak that language. So I'm glad that they took that extra step. Anyway, enough talking, back to the music. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that part. It's been so long since I've heard this song, but the bump, 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 or the drums and the bass, and I think maybe one of the guitars or both are lined up, just hitting on that same beat. That's powerful, especially combined with the vocal melody. Let's see if I can catch the beginning of that again. Wow, there were a couple of places during that chorus where part of my mind just blanked out, just to the sheer talent of all of them. Combining, layering, interspersing with each other. It's something that most of us, I don't think, ever see in real life. You have to go to a show where supremely talented musicians are playing, or, a professional sporting event where the cream of the crop are performing. But in day-to-day life, it's so rare that, you and your buddies are doing something that you're fairly good at, and then one of them's like, well, I'm a lot better than that. I can't even think of an example right now, but I think every one of them was doing a lot more than they had to make this work. And it's just really apparent. I can't say enough about how much effort they put into these songs. And I know a lot of other musical artists do that too, but so many don't. So many just do what's necessary. And it seems like Band-Maid always pulls out all the stops. And I really appreciate it. I had to take a mental health break. I said mental health, I think. I just forgot how good this song was, and there are so many things. I could make this video, hours long, not even being a musical expert, not knowing hardly at all about what's going on here musically, just being really impressed by it, and the sounds that they're making are perfect for me. And I'm not going to back up to it, but there's a point there where I thought I wanted to give a shout out to all the inventors of the world who came up with these instruments in the first place, and then the engineers and woodworkers and machinists, because those drums are getting hit pretty hard, pretty constantly, and they're just hanging in there. And that bass and that guitar, they're being used probably a little bit past their normal tolerances, so you know that they had to be built really well. I hope that everybody that's involved in the making of those instruments and everything that goes into this, the background people, you know, that you never think of that work in those factories, I hope they take pride in their work, because it shows here that what they did was worth it. Wow, again, much better than I remembered it. I remembered it being good. It was one of the probably first 10 Band-Maid songs that I heard right after I discovered them late in, I was going to say 2022. I think that's right. December 2022 is, I believe, when I became aware of Band-Maid. I shouldn't say discovered. That's like somebody discovering a country and there's already people living there. But I became aware of them. And I just did one song right after the other. And I'm pretty sure it was in the first 10, because one of the first 10 videos that I watched, I think, was their live version of Dice that had also included Different. So we're going to go watch that now. All right, so I already watched the Dice half of this back when I looked at Dice, and Dice was the very first Band-Maid song that I heard. But anyway, this video includes both. If I remember correctly, this is the one without an audience. It was an online concert, so it's counted as a live video because they're doing it on a stage, and there are people watching the live stream. And then they combined these two into one video, which is awesome. I think Dice just ended. I hopefully fast-forwarded to the correct place. Let's go.
Let's go, it's showtime.
Well, good thing I'm not one of the photosensitive viewers. Sorry, I should have given a warning if any of you are. There was a lot of flashing, strobing light in that. Also, as normal, the mix is slightly different in a live version. In this one, I was picking up the guitars a little bit more, especially the rhythm guitar. Even though it was showing mostly Konami, I was hearing Miku's guitar in the background. And I think the vocals are about to come in. Let's keep going. Also, the bass is elevated, at least in certain parts of this, and my goodness, it is worth it to listen to this again just for the extra little bit of Misa in there. You can also tell, those of you that have seen a bunch of their live videos, that there's a clear difference when there's no audience present. There's definitely a lot more joy and excitement when they can see the faces of their audience right there. So there is that difference. But also another difference in the sound isn't just the mix. I think Konami is using a slightly different effect on her guitar for this one, or at least it sounds like that to me. It's not quite that perfect sound that I was talking about in the other one that reminded me of the songs off of Domination. At least with my audio setup, Konami's guitar sounds lighter and and slightly less perfect. But again, my taste, my opinions. Let's keep going.
Looking back, I'm now back down. Yeah, in the black, don't see. Once more, かかりさす勇気 Once more, 読みがえるループ No more, でもまだやめない Just, yeah, wait Totally remember 無気力に焚きつけて心を
I did mention the difference in facial expressions because there's no audience, but it struck me that Akane is having very nearly the same view that she would during a concert with fans out there because of where she sits at the back of the stage with the drum kit blocking at least half of her vision, and the gaps in between that is very often the backsides of her compatriots there and little glimpses of faces beyond that. So for Saiki and Miku out front, their view is completely different, because they're normally face-to-face with the fans. And to some degree, it's also true for Konami and Misa, but Akane's view is always back there with, not as much of the fans in your face. So it kind of makes sense that she's still enjoying herself almost as much.
To shine.
Very nice. And I did notice a little bit difference on the vocals as well, like the Your Time to Shine that Saiki said near the end there in the music video. That part was very nearly buried, but here it was really clear. And there were a couple of parts that Miku said backing up Saiki that I didn't hear her do in the official music video that I heard her say here. So I always appreciate there being another mix because it's different. I didn't know how long to pause there, but yeah, I did that on purpose. And for Don't Be Long, there is an audio version here on YouTube that's I believe the studio track. But while looking for it, I also found this live version, which is also from an online concert. I don't know if it's the same one. It says third live online concert there from December 2020, which would have been about the same time as the single came out. I believe the single was released on December 2nd, and this says it was on December 13th. But I also read somewhere that they had been performing Don't Be Long for quite some time before this single came out, so people who showed up to their shows had already heard this song. Hopefully the audio and video quality on this one is good. Let's take a look. Well, the audio quality sounds pretty decent, at least to me. Maybe not quite as good as what we just heard, but the video quality is a little down. It's not horrible. But just as we went into that, a couple of the sounds that were made reminded me that I saw an interview once with Konami and Miku talking about Different and Don't Be Long. And I should probably pause the recording to go look it up, but I'm just going to say it from memory. And if I'm wrong, it'll be embarrassing when this video comes out. But I remember, I think Konami saying that she wrote this song just to help Miku learn the other one. That's what I remember. I'm remembering that she was trying to up Miku's game on the guitar and different was going to be a real trial for her. So Konami's like, what if I wrote one that helped her learn some of those basic ideas, and we just do that as an instrumental, and once she nails that, then she can do different. Or whichever two songs it was. I mean, my goodness, write a whole song just to teach your friend how to play guitar. That's impressive. I had to pause just for a second before I forgot. The sound that Misa's bass is making sounds different to me in this song than it did in Different. And it does remind me of the way that the bass sounded back on Domination on most of those songs. And I think I mentioned then that that's just my favorite bass sound, which is why Domination, up until this point at least, remains my favorite album by Band-Maid. And therefore my favorite album by any band of all time. But part of it is the way that the bass sounds, the way that the guitar sounds, and of course everything else. But here that Misa's bass is making that sound. And I also noticed Miku and Akane having, enjoying themselves there for a moment. And Miku definitely seems happier during this song than she did during the previous live that we just watched, where she seemed a little bit straight-faced. And this one she seems to be moving around a lot, enjoying herself. But of course the star of this show is Konami, or at least her sound is the one that's out front. And it sounds great. And throughout this one, I've been surprised repeatedly because unlike Different, which I remembered most of, I remembered several of the moments in that song. This one, I think I may have only heard a few times because it's not out there. There's not, as far as I know, an official music video for this one, and it's not on their Greatest Hits album. It is on Spotify, though, which is probably where I heard it before, but I'm definitely not as familiar with this one as I am with the other one. Let's finish it out. Well, I said we were going to finish it out. I'm going to back up and hear that part again. I didn't know that Miku had her own little part there. And the guitar part that was about to start from Konami sounded really delicious as well. Oh my goodness. Do you ever find yourself wishing that Band-Maid would have made an official music video or an official live video for every single song they have? I find myself wishing that all the time. I'm going to back up and listen to that again because I just realized it might not have been Konami's guitar that I was talking about in the previous song that had that favorite sound of mine, because this one right here, at least this part, sounds like that sounds to me. The effects that she's got going on right now sound perfect to me. Oh, wow. I think that was Band-Maid's best instrumental up to this point chronologically. I know there's another one, at least one more, maybe two more coming up in the future, which I haven't gotten to yet. But up to this point, that was incredible. That was the best bass tone ever. That was the best guitar tone ever. And the quality of this video wasn't enough for Konami's guitar solo. Her fingers just kind of blurred together there when she was doing the really fast parts, a couple of which reminded me of the Deep Purple guitar solo briefly. And that about wraps it up for this video. If I remember correctly, the next thing coming up is the album Unseen World, which came out just a month after this, did it not? So that must have been an exciting time for Band-Maid fans. They had gone nearly a year with no new releases, and then this single comes out with Different and Don't Be Long, and then 4 weeks later or 5 weeks later, whatever it was, Unseen World comes out, which I will get to as soon as I can. Thank you for spending your time here. I'll see you next time.